Formula One arrives at the Circuit of the Americas, and the timing could not be more dramatic. Austin has always been a stage for chaos. An uphill charge into Turn 1, a 3.4-mile circuit built for aggression, and a crowd that lives for the unexpected. But this time, the stakes are far greater. McLaren's drivers, Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, are no longer just teammates. They're rivals separated by 22 points, tense radio messages, and the aftermath of a collision that's still haunting the team. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen, the reigning four-time world champion, is quietly closing in, waiting for McLaren to tear itself apart. With 199 points still on the table, Red Bull's resurgence could transform this late-season battle into one of the most unpredictable title fights in years. Add to that a sprint format and brutal Texas heat, and you've got a weekend that's primed for both brilliance and disaster. Before we dive into the full picture, make sure you subscribe because this weekend in Austin could be the turning point of the 2025 season, and you'll want to understand exactly how it happens. The United States Grand Prix isn't just another race. It's the weekend where pressure, politics, and pure performance collide. This is a sprint weekend at Circuit of the Americas, a format that amplifies chaos, compresses preparation, and pushes drivers into riskier territory than ever before. Teams will have only 1 hour of practice before jumping straight into qualifying, meaning every wrong decision, every misstep, and every misjudged setup could turn into a weekend-long disaster. And when you combine that with 33 degrees Celsius heat, fading tyres, and a McLaren team on the brink of civil war, you get a Grand Prix that could completely rewrite the championship story. For McLaren, this weekend feels like a turning point. The harmony that once defined their resurgence has cracked wide open. After that first lap clash in Singapore between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, the team's papaya rules, which previously ensured that neither driver would sabotage the other, were quietly abandoned. Now, both are free to race. In theory, that sounds noble. In reality, it's a ticking time bomb. With Piastri leading by 22 points and Norris desperate to close the gap, every corner becomes a statement. Every overtake carries the weight of a championship. Behind the scenes, the tension is even more layered. Mark Webber, Piastri's mentor and manager, is rumoured to be deeply involved in pushing McLaren for clarity over team hierarchy. Sources suggest he's using potential interest from Ferrari as leverage, ensuring his driver isn't left exposed in an environment where Norris enjoys stronger ties to the British press and McLaren's home base. It's a dynamic that echoes Webber's own Red Bull years when he felt overshadowed by Sebastian Vettel, despite strong performances. That experience has made him hypersensitive to any sign of bias, and right now, those old wounds are resurfacing. The sprint format only amplifies this internal tension. Between Friday's qualifying, Saturday morning's sprint shootout, the sprint race itself, and Sunday's Grand Prix, Piastri and Norris will effectively face off 4 times in 48 hours. 4 chances to prove dominance, 4 opportunities for friction, and 4 potential flashpoints for disaster. In a normal race weekend, a single collision could be catastrophic. In a sprint weekend, there are 4 chances for it to happen, and only 1 chance for McLaren to contain the fallout. Meanwhile, in the shadows of McLaren's conflict, a familiar name is quietly hunting them down. Max Verstappen, 63 points behind, might seem like a mountain to climb, but with 199 points still available and 3 sprint weekends left, the math works in his favour. Red Bull's recent technical upgrades have restored much of the car's balance and consistency. Verstappen's raw pace may not yet match McLaren's over 1 lap, but his race management, tyre control and psychological endurance are unmatched. He doesn't need to win every race. He just needs McLaren to trip over themselves. And Verstappen knows how to wait. His 2021 title battle with Hamilton proved he can endure pressure, capitalise on chaos, and strike when it matters most. He doesn't panic, he doesn't overdrive, and he rarely makes unforced errors. In contrast, both Piastri and Norris are still learning how to fight for a championship over a full season. The cracks have already appeared, from Norris's aggressive move in Singapore to Piastri's radio frustration when team strategy didn't fall his way. Verstappen doesn't have to beat them outright, he just has to be there when they break. Then there's the Texas heat, an invisible but brutal factor. With ambient temperatures exceeding 33 degrees Celsius and track temperatures soaring beyond 50 degrees Celsius, tyre degradation becomes merciless. The asphalt at COTA is famously rough, and in these conditions it will chew through compounds at an alarming rate. They will have to choose between a conservative two-stop strategy or a daring one-stop that risks catastrophic drop-off. The undercut could be powerful, but mistiming it could destroy track position. And in a race as long and unpredictable as Austin, even the smallest miscalculation in pit strategy can swing the podium. The strategic picture is further complicated by COTA's design itself. The uphill charge into Turn 1 creates one of the most iconic and chaotic moments in Formula One. The corner's blind entry encourages bravery, or recklessness. We've seen drivers go 3 wide into that left-hander, and more often than not, someone comes out damaged. If the two McLarens find themselves side by side there, either in the sprint or the Grand Prix, that moment could define their relationship for the rest of the season. McLaren's decision to allow unrestricted racing might thrill fans, but internally it's a roll of the dice with millions of championship points at stake. For Andrea Stella and Zach Brown, managing this is a nightmare. Stella, known for his calm leadership, has repeatedly said both drivers have equal freedom to fight. But in a season where McLaren has already secured the Constructors' title, that freedom comes with heavy consequences. Brown knows what's at stake. One mistake, one clash, one ill-timed defensive move, and Verstappen will be right back in the title fight. The team's ideal scenario is simple. Both cars finish cleanly, Piastri maintains his lead, and the championship tension rolls into Mexico. But Formula One rarely grants ideal scenarios. Piastri enters the weekend with the challenge of defending his lead while proving he's worthy of being McLaren's future focus. He can't afford errors yet, must still race assertively enough to avoid being overshadowed. Norris, on the other hand, faces a different kind of pressure: to deliver results that justify his long-standing reputation as McLaren's star. The British media scrutiny adds another layer, framing every mistake as a referendum on whether he can handle the weight of expectation. Then there's the sprint itself, 19 laps of pure intensity. It's short, ruthless, and packed with championship implications. Drivers push harder, knowing there's little time to recover if things go wrong. A single misstep here could set the emotional tone for the entire weekend. If Norris beats Piastri cleanly, it reignites hope. If Piastri dominates again, it deepens the rift. But if either makes contact, the fallout could define the final stretch of 2025. And looming over all of it is Verstappen, the predator who doesn't need chaos but thrives on it. If McLaren implodes, he's ready. If reliability falters, he's there. And if pressure cracks one of the young stars, Verstappen's experience will drag Red Bull back into contention before anyone realises what happened. So,